Welcome. This is justlovingpeople.com, the program from South Korea. My name is Lawrence and Michelle.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show. Now we are broadcasting from the lake next to our house, and we are standing next to this awesome waterfall that you can hear in the background. And this week we're talking about relationship with God. And I just want you to take a listen to this sound this waterfall make. Now, why am I doing that? Well, the book of Revelation says that the voice of God sounds like mighty waters. And this is the series All or Nothing, the second week, relationship with God. And today we're talking about God's voice. And I've just given you, in the background, you can still hear the waterfall as we walk past it now. I think, for me, personally, I think that's how the Lord's voice must sound. But what do you think, Michelle?
Well, I've heard God's voice in an audible voice, and for me, it was more like thunder. But the softness that came simultaneously with that sound, got illustrated by this waterfall. It's so soothing. Even though it has this thunderous authority around it, it's so soothing and tender and loving at the same time. It's very hard to explain, but if you need to shape a picture that together. The picture of thunder and nice soothing waterfall all together in one picture. That's the best I can illustrate it.
Yeah, for me, God's voice, well, this is a question that we're asking. If you want to be in a relationship with somebody, you need to know their voice. We got married 10.5 months ago, and I had to learn your voice.
Yeah, you had to learn how I speak and my manner of speaking and my voice tone, because I'm so much louder than your whole family together. Even your whole congregation isn't as loud as I am. So I was the foreigner that came into your family. And we are walking underneath a bridge at this moment next to the lake. So if you hear a little bit of an echo, just know we're almost through it. And so for you at the beginning, you got so offended by my voice tone and the way I'm speaking, because I sound so hard and I'm so loud, and you didn't know what to do with it until God worked with your heart and said, well, this is the wife I gave you. Now learn how she speaks. And the moment we got to learn each other, through being together the whole time, having conversation with each other the whole time, and just embracing each other, we got to know each other. I learned how to deal with you are much soft-spoken than I am. You have less words than I have in a conversation, and so you are much more quieter than I am. And God worked with me as well, teaching me that's okay. That's the way I created him. I put you guys together, so you need to learn each other. The better you know each other, the better your relationship will be. That's exactly the way it is with God. The more time you spend with him, the more conversation you have with him, the better you get to know him. And the better you get to know him, the more peace you have. Because then you know when God used that voice tone, oh, I need to do this. When God used that voice tone, oh, I need to do this. It is relationship.
And it took time. It is not an easy thing. I mean, in the beginning, you would say something, and the voice that you used, the tone, was something that meant something different to me. But as you said, spending time with each other, that was the secret, and it's the same with the Lord. Listener, you're asking, how do I know God's voice? Well, in my case, I can walk up to somebody now, pray for them and I immediately have a vision, like a prophetic word. In the beginning, the Lord just told me, go and pray for that person. And I was asking God, what do you want to say? And God said, well, just go, So I will literally walk up to somebody and say, can I pray for you? And the moment I take their hand, I see like a picture, like a movie, and I tell them what it is. And, well, 99% it is something that makes sense to them and a word from the Lord. But why do I do that? I develop that through relationship, through taking that step of faith, through spending time with the Lord. So no, I don't hear God in an audible voice. I don't hear him like, Lawrence, go and do this. No, I don't. It is just faith, and it's been developed. Now you will hear a stream. We've just reached the stream. We're going to cross a bridge, and throughout this whole broadcast, you're going to hear what I think the voice of God might sound like is, like a stream. We're just greeting people passing by on a bike here. You've heard God in an audible voice. Can you tell the listeners what God told you?
The first time I heard God's voice in an audible voice was when he called me and he said, come, I'm waiting for you. And that was 18 months ago. And the beautiful thing is God knew I would be shocked. And I didn't know who he was. So he allowed me to ask questions. Who are you? Who's speaking to me? Reveal yourself. What's going on? God knew where I was at that point of time. So he's a patient God. And he let me be who I am. And he knew the purity of me being confused at that moment. And, oh yeah, this is my favorite part of the stream. It's like you just showed me the stream. I need to mention it because it's loud.
It is really, really loud. Hear that? It's so peaceful. Anyways, you were said, you asked God, who are you? What are you saying to me? And so you just accepted? You just had that voice, I'm waiting for you?
The third time. Because after I asked my questions, God again just said, come, I'm waiting for you. And again my response was, where? Who are you? I don't know. Because God knew. And then the third time, God said, my child, I'm waiting for you.
That's beautiful.
And that moment, God's voice brought life to my spirit that has been dead forever. My spirit awoken. My spirit came to life, and my spirit knew it was God Almighty. And I instantly became peaceful. A peace undescribable. Don't even let me try to explain it because I can't. And God just told me, go to bed and sleep. And my body obeyed to my spirit. My body just went to bed and sleep. I didn't think about it, nothing. I just did it. And ever since then, the moment God tells me to do something, I do it. I don't ask questions. Why? It's obedience. You have to be obedient to God's orders in order to get the best of the land. You have to be willing to be obedient, to obey God's voice, obey God's instructions. If God says, go to someone, I need you there. It doesn't matter why. You don't know why. You don't have the words why. Just go. The moment you reach that person, God speaks through you. He takes you over. He uses you as a vessel. Just do it. Just be obedient. And that's the thing with my relationship with God now after 18 months is God speaks and I obey. That's it.
That's a very good point. God speaks and I obey. So we just arrived at yet another waterfall. Now this one is really cool. It has a cave.
Yeah.
So we are going into this cave because I really want you to just yeah, the voice of God. We try to explain the best way we can the voice of God. But we are walking into a cave here, and we are actually now behind the waterfall. And just listen to this. That's a beautiful sound, eh?
That sounds like mighty waters falling down. That is awesome. It is so beautiful. We're standing in a cave with this waterfall falling down, and that feeling of excitement exhilarating in your spirit just to be with this. It might be just like a very small tiny piece of what it actually is to hear God's voice in an audible sound, but it is at this moment the closest I can explain what it feels like. It brings you to obedience the moment you hear it. You just keep quiet, you zone out, you zip out, it's blank, there's nothing. You just sit and listen because your spirit reacts to it. It is part of God. You cannot deny it. And so that brings me back to what I said earlier is obedience. Obedience, obedience, obedience. Just do it. You will see the beauty afterwards, but just do it. Just trust God and do it. That's relationship. Trust, trust, trust. Do it. You have nothing to lose. Just do it.
We are shouting above the noises of the waterfall here. This is the program JustLovingPeople.com from South Korea. And this whole series you can download for free at JustLovingPeople.com. We also just released our book, It's All or Nothing. And this book is all about what we're talking this week. And I really want you to go there and download it. Now, God's voice. This is what we're talking about today, is God's voice. And I thank you for listening to us, partners. You made all this possible. Radio stations, you support us, you keep us on the air. JustLovingPeople.com is the website to go. We just walked through the tunnel. We are looking now at the outside. When I look at this waterfall, I get the reason why Revelation talked about God's voice as the sound of a waterfall, because it's mighty, it's rushing. You can feel the vibration. If you go to these big waterfalls, you can feel the ground vibrate. And yeah, this must be the voice of God.
It doesn't really specifically say waterfall. It says mighty waters. And for me, the biggest thing for me to explain is, if you can remember the tsunamis that hit the world, it is mighty waters that just strips everything, It's so powerful. And waterfalls, when you stand and you feel the earth vibrate, it gives you that same sense. Even at the ocean with the waves, that crushes, that sound, that roaring sound, any mighty waters, if you stand there, you cannot deny God's presence. It is so profound. It's only God that could put this together. No man can. It's out of reach of a human being. God is too powerful, too big. He's everywhere. Just stop and take it in.
Well, I've been to Vic Falls in South Africa. In Africa. That is so big. You can't even go near because it hits the ground, it flips up in the air, and it makes you wet. Well, that's the presence of the Lord. I don't want you to only hear His voice today. I want you to get wet in the presence of the Lord. Well, this was another live program here from South Korea, and we're almost at the end. Michelle, please say your goodbyes.
Thank you so much for listening to us. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.